free. One day I'm gonna be everything I wanna be. I don't let it get the most of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be everything I'm gonna be. My future right in front of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be free. Then let me be free.
From the depths of darkness, a voice emerges. A host with a fire burning in his soul. With a heart, steel, and a spirit unbroken. He rides on two wheels, ready to claim his throne. Amidst the chaos and the thunderous roar, insane wheels rise as a force to be reckoned with. Fueled by the power that only metal can bestow. He takes his step, refusing to submit. Insane wheels hear his battle cry. Metal and mayhem will never die. Rituals report he paves his way. Oh, legend in the making, day by day.
Good morning to you legends up in the building. Hopefully everyone's enjoying themselves and having a wonderful thirsty Thursday morning so far. I definitely know that we are. Ladies and gentlemen, we got a lot to discuss this morning, as you guys already know. It seems like that is always the case. Senate passes DHS bill, as well as Iran strikes Hormuz and global headlines. So we've got it all ready for you guys. We've got it all lined up. And let me go ahead and give you guys the chronological breakdown of what we're actually going to be looking at this morning. We are looking at, a lot of what happened actually happened after the show yesterday. So we have a lot of stuff that we got to cover from yesterday leading into today. All right. So we got Georgia Democrat Representative David Scott. Apparently he died at 80 years old. Happened yesterday. That's absolutely terrible to hear. That's going to be our first story. Our second one is Trump shows 8 Iranian protesters won't be executed. Now, I did see this on the mainstream yesterday. I saw Trump actually make a post about this. But yes, supposedly there was supposed to be 8 Iranian protesters. I believe they were women even. That they were going to execute them. And apparently Trump came out and interjected and made sure that that didn't happen or whatever. So let me go ahead and read this. It says, President Trump announced via Truth Social Wednesday that Iran will not execute 8 women accused of being involved in protests against the regime as previously planned. He said 4 of them will be released immediately, while the other 4 will be sentenced to 1 month in prison. Wow. I mean, that's better than being executed, right? And then from yesterday, we also have Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt, takes questions on Iran outside of the White House. So we'll be showing you guys that here in a minute. Then we have budget bailout. We were talking about the airlines yesterday. We were talking about Spirit in particular. Trump weighs $500 million move on Spirit Airlines. Man, just more and more of these bailouts, you know. We got also CIA agents killed in Mexico, crash tied to cartel operations. Wow. So it says, we're learning more as Mexico's president demands answers after a crash killed 2 U.S. officials tied to a cartel-related operation. Reports indicate that the incident could reveal conflicting accounts over American involvement inside their country. Interesting. We're going to be getting to all of these here in a few. Houston changes ICE policy after funding threats from Governor Abbott. So that's going to be a big story as well. Also, an update on the whole Virginia redistricting process that they were doing. We were reporting on yesterday. I guess a federal judge Judge blocks proposed congressional map. Well, for the first time, it actually went for our side, but it'll probably still be challenged anyways. And then 4 hours ago, by the way, this is breaking as of 4 hours ago. Senate passes DHS budget plan for ICE and CBP, which is Border Patrol. Schumer and Thune react, it shows. So we're going to be seeing that here in a few. And then we have, just 3 hours ago, we have a video that came out. U.S. seizes Iranian-linked oil tanker. Now it says overnight, U.S. forces seized an Iranian-leaked sanctioned stateless vessel in the Indian Ocean. Officials say the ship was carrying Iranian oil, and the operation happened in the I can't even say what kind of Indo-Pakistan area. All right. And then we have U.S. military seizes oil tanker associated with Iran, which we just talked about right there. But we do have more information on the actual oil tanker and the story on that. And then we have what we're going to be finalizing on. Trump orders Navy to, quote, shoot and kill mine boats in the Strait of Hormuz. So we've got a lot to discuss this morning. Always appreciate all of your guys' engagement, by the way. Thank you all for being here. And let's go ahead and do our call to actions, and we'll get right to the craziness. Make sure you guys hit that like button and double tap that screen if you guys are on the vertical side. Very much appreciate that. As well as hit that subscribe button. It's absolutely free to do so. And this is what we do Monday through Friday. And then, of course, we have members only on Saturday morning. Now, talking about members, please consider becoming a member for only $3.99 a month. We're making sure we're not breaking the bank out there with anybody, but check it out. This is what allows us to be on these airwaves as well as have these lights on. So thank you guys for becoming members and staying members. Little side note here, follow my Instagram right here at Ball Valve TV, where I post everything behind the scenes of not only my life, but as well as the show, Millennial Food Time, breaking news, as well as the campaign trail. It's a great way to get a hold of me one-on-one. We also have a Discord server for all of you legends. Make sure you guys go down into the video description down below, and that is where we have the invite link for the Discord server. It's where we continue the conversation after the show. And last but not least, all super chats, super stickers, gifted memberships, and membership signups are, of course, all going to be presented live and shouted out onto the show. But if you guys would like to skip that YouTube 30% brutal cut that they take from your hard-earned cash, as I stumble over my words, well, listen, we've got these platforms that are scrolling around the screen. At any time, you guys can donate to those, and I get 100% of the proceeds, as well as I will read out loud whatever you guys send me, so that I read it out loud just like a super chat. So we've got the email up. We're ready to rock and roll. Always appreciate you guys joining in. Also, really quick, got to give a big shout out to Motobomb Virginia, Sick Bastard, Carney Vanguard, all the coffee crew. Thank you guys for rating us this morning. Very much appreciate that. We always appreciate your guys' love and support. All right, real quick, I'm going to try to scroll my way down and say hi to a few we got it's going to be hard. We got all the legends in here. We got Steve Easy as well as Naomi in the building. We got Jimmy Mack as well as Seymour Cannabis. Yes, sir. Great to see you. Kurt saying all good. Love and respect. Yes, sir. Great to see you, bro. We got Easy Frank as well. Steve Posey. Always appreciate you. We got Chasing Ghost as well as Miss Lotus. Happy Thirsty Thursday morning to you all. We got Brother So Loud in the building from the Boondocks in North Carolina. Shout out to you. We got Prez as well. Good morning to you. And Kurt says, thought you were poking at me. No, I legit meant it. I hope that you are doing well. And I call people that I like legends or brothers, or you know what I mean. So anyways, we're scrolling our way down as fast as humanly possible. We got Tiffany Lance in the building. Good morning to you. Great to see you in the chat. We got rolling Brother Dean over there on the West Coast. Always appreciate it. We got a Motobomb Virginia. Absolutely great to see him. We got Easy Frank saying, Mike, I don't see Lucy Ball. She's probably right now, if I had to guess, probably laying down under either the couch, the ottoman, or the bed. She'll definitely make her presence known. We got Dylan Patterson. Great to see you in the chat, by the way. Indo-Pacific. Yes, that's basically what they were getting at, Jimmy Mack, when I was struggling to figure out how to say whatever. It's a certain acronym, but it wasn't Indo-Pacific. But yes, it was getting on to that kind of thing. Anyways, let's see. We're scrolling our way down. We got Brother GEG in here as well. Good morning. We got Virginia Chaos. Absolutely, my man. We got Carrie from Rob's Neighbor. Good morning to you, kind sir. All right. Thank you all for being here. Let's go ahead and get right into the craziness this morning. We're going to get into this Georgia Democrat Representative David Scott has unfortunately died at the age of 80. So here we go.
Welcome back into Live Now from Fox. I'm Ryan Schmelz.
I got a question.
Why are you gay?
Just asking.
We have some breaking news to get to. Longtime Congressman David Scott has passed away at the age of 85. We have this from Chad Pergram here and Fox News saying this. David Scott, Democrat from Georgia, dead at the age of 80. Sorry, I apologize. Had the wrong age there. Dead at the age of 80. The sources confirm to Chad Pergram. Scott represented his district in Georgia. He had a long career, served nearly 50 years in office. That includes 2 decades.
50 years? Holy shit. That's like as if I got into office at 30, right? I'm 31 now. Last year, as if I got in, and then I stayed in office until I died at 80. Holy shit.
Decades in Congress. The lengthy political career spanned local and national offices throughout the state of Georgia, but also, as we now note, his latest job.
Damn, Gary, he's even saying, and he was running for re-election. This screams term limits. Not only does it scream term limits, but I also, here's the thing. I've definitely gotten to the point where I agree with term limits, but I also think that there should be something where we add in there where there's actually an age limit as well. We don't need you being 85 years old or in your 80s running this country. You can't even relate to most people, like you can't even relate to them. So I don't know, man. We got a lot of old people, especially in Congress, presidents, all that shit. I'm talking all public office. We got Grid One Motorsports in the building. Shout out to my man. Hopefully you're enjoying your morning so far. Definitely know that we are over here. Great to see you, by the way.
Job in Georgia, representing the 13th. His 13th term in office there. Here from Meg Kennard over at the AP.
Naomi's here. She's on the vertical chat right now.
He's saying U.S. Rep. David Scott, a Georgia Democrat, seeking his 13th
What's
term
up, Chrono?
in
Good
Congress,
morning.
has died at the age of 80. The cause of death has not been released as of right now, but Dr. Everton Blair.
Yeah, cause of death is because he's fucking old. You know what I mean? Just saying.
Was hoping to replace Scott in Congress, releasing the following statement saying this: today politics fades and humanity remains. I am deeply saddened by the passing of Congressman David Scott. For more than 2 decades, he answered the call to serve the people of Georgia's 13th congressional district with dedication and conviction. And his length of public service spans a lifetime of leadership from the Georgia General Assembly to the halls of the United States Congress.
Wow. Even Mike Johnson came out.
My prayers are with his wife, the entire Scott family, and all of Congressman Scott's loved ones as they mourn his loss. My thoughts are also with his grandchildren.
All right. So let's, at least you guys know that this is happening. We're going to go ahead and move on, though. We don't need to keep beating a dead horse, essentially. So we've got, right here, it says 8 Iranian protesters won't be executed from Trump, by the way. He made a Truth Social post yesterday. I actually did see it in the mainstream. Or actually, I saw it on social media is where I saw it. But let's go ahead and show you guys this post real quick. It's very quick.
Welcome back into Live Now from Fox. I'm Ryan Schmelz. We do have some breaking news to get to right now. That is President Trump putting out a statement on Truth Social saying this: very good news. I have just been informed that the 8 women protesters who are going to be executed tonight in Iran will no longer
What up, 5150? Good morning.
be killed. 4 will be released immediately, and 4 will be sentenced to 1 month in prison. I very much appreciate that Iran and its leaders respected my request as President of the United States and terminated the planned execution. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. This was certainly a story that we were following. There were a lot of activists and people across the world who were very concerned about this possible execution of these 8 women. But now, as you just saw there, President Trump putting out a Truth Social post and making a statement that those 8 women will not be executed tonight. And also 4 of them will be released immediately. So certainly a story.
And then the other 4 are going to spend a month in jail.
We're going to continue to follow. But again, let's go ahead and read out this statement one more time from President Trump on Truth Social. Very good news. I have just been informed that the 8 women protesters who are going to be executed tonight in Iran will no longer be killed. 4 will be released immediately, and 4 will be sentenced to 1 month in prison. I very much appreciate that Iran and its leaders respected my request as President of the United States and terminated the planned execution. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump.
Well, Tiffany, if you remember when the protests were happening on this recent time, right before we went to war with them, remember that was one of the excuses for us to go in there. And I think the last reported number was 15,000 people that they killed on this last round of protesting. Now, that doesn't even include how many people were imprisoned, not killed, but imprisoned. I mean, we're talking tens and tens of thousands of people. Absolutely crazy. Anyways, let's go ahead and move on real quick. We're going to get into the press secretary. Caroline Leavitt takes questions on Iran. This happened yesterday. So let's go. I think it happened yesterday afternoon. So let's go ahead and hear what she had to say on this.
I will answer them. Let's level set on where we are. As you all saw yesterday, President Trump announced an extension of the ceasefire. He's maintaining and generously offering a bit of flexibility to a regime who has been completely tarnished because of Operation Epic Fury. There's obviously a lot of internal division. This is a battle between the pragmatists and the hardliners in Iran right now, and the president wants a unified response.
Wait, song? What do you mean song behind me? I don't know what that means. Oh, the sign. Oh, the sign. Okay, so what she does do, I'll tell you the truth, just so to answer on this. So see how it's like laid up the way it is? So when I get up to make my bed, as you know, Lucy follows me everywhere I go. I mean, I don't care if I'm going to the bathroom, she's going to the bathroom with me. If I'm moving to the bed, she's on the bed with me. You get the point. Wherever I move around, she follows. Anyways, while I'm making the bed, she's always trying to rub up, against the sign, and she always knocks it over. And I'm like, stop it, kitty. Stop doing that. Anyways, yeah, she does knock it over, but only when I'm right next to it.
And so as we await that response, there's a ceasefire with the military and kinetic strikes, but Operation Economic Fury continues, and the effective and successful naval blockade.
Economic Fury. Yeah, that's exactly what Iran's operation is on us.
Continues as well of ships and vessels that are moving to and from Iranian ports. We are completely strangling their economy through this blockade. They're losing $500 million a day. The Karg Island is completely full. They can't move oil in and out. They can't even pay their own people as a result of this economic leverage that President Trump has inflicted over them. So he's satisfied with that as we await their response, and we will see. The president has not set a firm deadline to receive an Iranian proposal, unlike some of the reporting.
No, what the actual timeline is they added 3 to 5 days. It wasn't like, okay, this is the guaranteed date and time, and if it's not met, then you're going to be met with bombs. That's not what happened. Trump basically said, we'll give it 3 to 5 days.
I've seen today. Ultimately, the timeline will be dictated by the commander-in-chief and the president of the United States.
Who was in charge in Iran and who?
So basically, all she was stating right there is that the president can act within his right at any time, essentially, is what she's saying. Like, yes, there is some sort of timeline out there, but that shit could end right this second, depending on what Trump feels like.
Administration is even negotiating with?
Well, we obviously know who we're negotiating with because our negotiating team has sat down with those individuals in person.
I hate that shit, Frank. That happens to me once in a while. Obviously, I think that goes with having cats, right? You're going to have those problems, especially that, like, I got a long-haired orange cat, right? So she is always licking herself, cleaning herself, and then the amount of fur balls that I'm surprised she doesn't have more of them. It's actually pretty rare, but once in a while I do get woken up to that shit.
But obviously there's a lot of internal fraction and internal division, which again just proves the effectiveness of Operation Epic Fury in the first place. Their regime and many of its leaders for nearly 5 decades have been wiped off of the face of planet Earth. So again, the president's offering them a little bit of flexibility because we want to see a unified proposal to the president's very strong proposal. And he's made his red lines very clear. Again, the United States maintains control over this situation, leverage over the Iranian regime. Not only have they been...
Yes, sir. Prez loves Caroline Leavitt.
...significantly weakened and obliterated militarily, but they are losing economically and financially every single moment that passes with this blockade. So the president is going to continue to lead the free world, to run the United States of America.
Once in a blue moon, because she's so long-haired, she'll take a shit, and unfortunately it'll stick to her sometimes, and so that's when she will wipe her ass on the floor, and that shit does get me pissed off. Trust me, I get angry
as we await the Iranian response.
Thanks a lot, Caroline. 2 questions. What's the ultimate goal of this blockade? Is it indefinite, and is the ceasefire that's in place right now also indefinite?
Look, again, I'm not going to set a timetable for the president. He has not done that, and I won't. I know there's been some anonymous sourced reporting that there was maybe a 3 to 5 day deadline. That is not true. The president has not set a deadline himself. Ultimately, he will dictate the timetable. And again, he is...
Right. The 3 to 5 day thing is like the media is taking it like as if this is the deadline. Well, it's not necessarily the deadline. He just said we'll give you a few extra days. So he can really do anything he wants at any moment. Really.
Satisfied with the naval blockade, and he understands that Iran is in a very weak position, and the cards are in President Trump's hand right now.
On the issue of Virginia redistricting,
yeah, Jimmy Mack. Usually when that happens, I have to pull it. You know what I mean? And then I have to take scissors and cut it off of her because it gets stuck on her, bro. But it's very rare that even happens. By the way, first of all, I keep her cat box super clean. And second of all, it's very rare when it happens, but it does happen.
Why didn't he campaign more actively against this referendum? Why not spend time on True Social encouraging people vote no for the vote, then raise concerns after?
That's a question that's political by nature. As you know, I'm not part of the president's political team anymore. I do sit here at the White House as a government employee. Look, the president has a lot on his plate, a lot on his schedule. He did host a...
What does that mean, what she just said? Like she's not part of the political team anymore. What are you talking about?
A telephone call prior to the election the night before, but he's made his position on the result of this election clear to all of us. Mary Bruce.
The president is not setting a deadline with this ceasefire right now, but this war has already gone on longer than he said it would initially. How long should Americans be prepared for this war to go on?
Well, look, I think President Trump ultimately will dictate the timeline, and he will do so when he feels is in the best interest of the United States and the American people.
Thank you very much. So in the same day, the president said that he doesn't want to extend the ceasefire and the bombs would start falling after the end of the ceasefire.
Which is true. He did say that if we're not met with a deal by the end of the ceasefire, then the bombs shall continue.
Unilaterally, he declared that the ceasefire would be extended indefinitely. Iranian state media are openly mocking the President of the United States and saying we didn't even request the extension of the ceasefire. What's the response from the President of the United States?
The response is you guys all see a lot of different messaging coming out of Iran, a lot of different rhetoric and language from them. I would caution you to take anything that they say at face value. What we've seen is that what they say publicly is much different than what they concede to the United States and our negotiating team privately.
Well, that's
I've
true.
said that repeatedly to all of you in the news media, and you should take our word for it.
Yes, but in all fairness, so does the United States. So, I mean, it's kind of a moot point.
On another topic, there's been some reporting about a possible bailout for Spirit Airlines. Can you update us on those talks? And
yes, the 500 million, not billion, 500 million, I think is the number.
Does the administration think it's a good investment to
Yes, it is. It is million, by the way. I just looked.
Bankrupt airline.
Well, I understand the airline is bankrupt because the previous administration blocked the merger, which was probably not a wise move. Obviously, this is something the Commerce Department and the president are tracking. I don't have any updates or announcements, but the aviation industry is very important to this president and this White House. Millions of Americans depend on it. We want to see the best possible outcome, but I don't have any announcements today.
Thank you so much, Caroline. So how long is the president willing to wait for the Iranians to come to the table? And does he trust the Iranians to come to the table?
Again,
well, here's the problem with what she basically is stating. Iran knows the deal here. They're always really good at being able to, they've always notoriously been good at being able to draw things or lengthen things. They'll take their sweet ass time coming to the table because what they're going to do is, again, like I said on the Diamond Effect last night, Iran cannot win militarily. Okay. It's just, it is what it is. But they can absolutely win on a political level and a financial level. Okay. That's where they can actually hold some merit there. Right. So anyways, I don't know. The way that this is framed and the way that this is going to, it's going to be all bullshit.
I've now been asked this question a few different times, a few different ways. I'm not going to set a deadline.
And then she didn't even answer it.
A lot of the negotiations, or it seems public statements that we've seen from the president come on Truth Social and the Iranians on X, a lot of back and forth there. Did the president's Truth Social posts throughout the day ahead of these negotiations have a negative impact on negotiations?
I think
let's get the likes up, everybody. Double tap that screen if you guys are on the vertical side. I very much appreciate
where
it.
we are right now. The president chose to extend the ceasefire because it's Iran who needs to get their act together. The United States and President Trump have been very clear in our demands and our red lines and what we need to see in the best interest of the American people and our country and our allies from the very beginning. So the short answer to your question is no.
Does the White House have an understanding at this point of who inside of Iran will have the final sign-off on a deal?
The White House and our intelligence community certainly has a good understanding. However, we want to see a unified response and a unified proposal to the previous question.
What's up, chatting with Stacks? Good morning to you. Great to see you in the chat, by the way.
Point. You see a lot of different messaging on social media from many people within the regime, and a lot of that public nonsense is not what we hear from them privately. But again, we want a unified response, and that's what the president is awaiting. Again, I'll leave our intelligence community and the president to decide. Nick, go ahead.
I'm still wondering what she meant by I'm not in Trump's political team anymore. Like, what does that mean? Like, I'm still like stuck on that. Like, what did that even mean? You're a spokesperson for the White House. Of course, you're involved in politics on the political team.
White House have a response to the DOJ's indictment of the SPLC, as well as the allegations that it was, donated funds were used to actually fund the very hate groups and racist groups that it announced.
Yeah, I saw the indictment yesterday. I saw the acting attorney general and FBI director do a press conference on it. It was quite shocking to me to learn of the egregious violations of the law of the Southern Poverty Law Center was committing. And I think that's a story that should be on the front page of every newspaper in this country because they've obviously been duping their supporters and the American taxpayers for far too long. It's a criminal organization, clearly, and that's not our DOJ saying that or Todd Blanche saying that. That's a grand jury indictment saying
Yeah, she's like, that wasn't us saying that. That's a grand jury that, you're not going to take our word for it. Take it from a grand jury. All right, so we're going to go to move on here. We were just briefly touching on that bailout for Spirit Airlines. We're going to go ahead and get into this budget bailout. Trump weighs $500 million, the $500 million move on Spirit Airlines. All right, let's go ahead and bring this up, and we'll quickly discuss it. Also, what we have not done is the money part, so let's get that.
All right, just get the money part done.
Give me money. Money me. Money now. Me a money needing a lot now.
Now, that was actual factuals.
Denied.
All right, let's go ahead and pull this up, and we'll get right into it. Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Over Capitol Hill right now as we turn to the skies for our next story. Spirit Airlines and their iconic yellow planes are looking for a buyout from the federal government. Reports say the Trump
another bailout. Another airline bailout.
Trump administration is willing to rescue the airline with a rumored $500 million deal. Now, earlier today, Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt was asked about this potential deal. Let's listen into what she had to say.
Yeah, Steve Easy. Absolutely. I think it would qualify as socialism and even, well, a type of nepotism, actually, believe it or not. Who's decided who's allowed to get money and who's not? Yeah.
Well, I understand the airline is bankrupt because the previous administration blocked the merger.
Which we just heard this. They're just showing this particular thing of what she said on Spirit.
It was probably not a wise move. Obviously, this is something the Commerce Department and the president are tracking. I don't have any updates or announcements, but the aviation industry is very important to this president and this White House. Millions of Americans depend on it. We want to see the best possible outcome, but I don't have any announcements.
So we are joined right now by Nick Ewan, who is the Senior Digital Director of the Points Guy. And Nick, let's start by explaining just how the budget and the airline found themselves in bankruptcy.
Yeah, so this was really dates back to...
Oh, man, Tiffany, I'm sorry to hear that, by the way. I'm reading now what you said. I'm sorry to hear that.
Coming out of the pandemic, Spirit really struggled to return to any semblance of profitability. A couple of mergers that fell through. They've actually are in their second round of bankruptcy right now, and reports came out over the last couple of weeks that they were on the verge of ceasing operations entirely, which would have been a real challenge, especially for those travelers who had flights booked on Spirit in the coming weeks and coming months. So there is a level of urgency here, which is why I think we're seeing the administration consider this potential rescue plan.
So why is the Trump administration interested in offering a rescue package for Spirit? What is the motivation essentially for the administration?
Well, Spirit Airlines is a leisure carrier. They bill themselves on low fares. They've kind of expanded.
Leisure. Well, I mean, I guess most traveling is leisure.
The ability of people to travel. And I think that represents an important segment of the traveling population. Do we want to restrict the ability to those who can actually afford those higher fares that could potentially come with the cessation of operations of a main airline like a Spirit? We've seen Spirit drive fares down when they enter a market. In fact, the emergence of basic economy can actually be traced back to Spirit's competition on select routes with major airlines. So they do play a pretty large role in the...
Well, and they do play a large role in the aspect of an open market and that kind of aspect, right? So the more competition that you have, the more airlines such as Spirit that are out there reducing prices, basically cheaper fare, that you're able to get on these planes for a lot cheaper. Those kind of things are very important because it keeps prices realistic and lower than as if it's a monopoly, which is exactly what is the worry here. Essentially, if Spirit goes under and now is merged with some other company, Delta or some shit, well, now Spirit is off the market for competition. So now prices naturally go up. That's the worry, right?
Industry, and fewer carriers typically means less competition, which means higher prices for consumers.
Well, that's exactly what I was just getting at. So everyone knows what the deal is here and what the worries are with Spirit and what's going on. So $500 million bailout is being considered right now. So when that happens or whatever the decision is on that, I'll let you guys know. All right, we're going to go ahead and move on into the CIA agents that were killed in Mexico crash tied to cartel operation. So let's go ahead and bring this up and figure out what the hell is going on in Mexico, where our CIA agents have now died. We have 2 of them that died.
Appreciate everyone continuing to join us, continuing to bring you some of the day's biggest top stories and headlines. One of those stories that we want to continue to talk about is the story of 2 U.S. embassy officials who died in Mexico as they returned.
And that's,
from a counter-narcotic operation.
What's up, Pops? Great to see you, by the way. Hopefully you're enjoying your Thirsty Thursday morning. Great to see you. Hopefully you and Mountain Woman are doing fantastic.
Worked for the CIA. The Mexican president, Claudia Sheinbaum, said that she would investigate whether the operation broke any national security laws. For more on this, let's go on to Fox News' Griff Jenkins with a breakdown of what's happening in Mexico.
It was a ton of chaos. There was so much chaos.
The State Department is scrambling to respond to a pair of violent incidents involving U.S. citizens in Mexico. On Monday, a gunman opening fire at tourists visiting a historic site near Mexico.
Yes, this whole thing. Okay, I saw this whole well, I didn't see the whole ordeal. I saw what was kind of going on. I saw this happen, I think 2 days ago, actually. I saw it on social media. That's where I saw it originally. So anyways, back to this.
There was so much chaos.
The State Department is scrambling to respond to a pair of violent incidents involving U.S. citizens in Mexico. On Monday, a gunman opening fire at tourists visiting a historic site.
Right. And so this is a different story, but this is something that they're talking about that they are looking into.
Near Mexico City, 1 person was killed, 13 others wounded, including 6 Americans. The shooter.
Damn, there were 6 Americans there? They must have been tourists, obviously.
Who took his own life, was discovered with handwritten materials about the 1999 Columbine shooting, and witnesses say he was deliberately targeting tourists.
The shooter was trying to pick and choose.
So he's deliberately going after tourists. He's going for the white people. He's getting those white people.
Amongst the victims.
That shooting came just a day after 2 Americans were killed in a car crash in northern Mexico. They were reportedly working for the CIA and returning from a mission to dismantle an outdoor drug lab. 2 Mexican investigators were also killed.
We are investigating what these people were doing and which agency.
This is the president of Mexico, by the way.
They belong to. Until now, the information we have is that they were working alongside. Let's just put it that way.
But Mexican officials say nobody in their government was aware of American anti-drug personnel operating on Mexican soil, raising questions about the extent of U.S. involvement in Mexico's cartel war.
There are no joint operations. There is an exchange of information from them to us and from us to them of various kinds, particularly intelligence. We cooperate within a clearly defined framework.
Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum says an investigation is now underway to determine if any Mexican laws were broken during the counter-narcotics operation. In Washington, Griff Jenkins, Fox News.
All right, Griffin, thanks so much for those updates. We appreciate them all right here on Live Now from Fox. I want to continue to talk about those 2 Americans.
Now I want to hear about the CIA agents that were killed after a drug bust. That was what we just heard is a totally different situation from the CIA agents being killed. Okay, so
killed in Mexico, and really the investigation that is happening not only in the United States, but also Mexico as well. Let's bring in our next guest, the front here of the program, Nima Rahmani, former federal prosecutor. Thanks for coming on here, Nima. And yeah, this comes at a moment where both sides want to investigate, but what is going to be looked at for possible, Mexico authorities are saying if any laws were broken?
Well, first, Mike, we're going to look at the incident itself. Were these individuals attacked by the cartel, or was it...
Hold on.
Why are you gay?
Again, just asking.
Just a tragic and unfortunate car accident. I think that's sort of step one. I think politically the question is...
So wait. It It was just a normal car crash. What? That doesn't add up.
Well, first, Mike, we're going to look at the incident itself. Were these individuals attacked by the cartel, or was it just a
So he was asking a question. He was bearing a question. Gotcha.
tragic and unfortunate car accident? I think that's sort of step one. I think politically, the question is, what were two U.S. officials doing in Mexico in the first place? And it's probably the worst kept secret, but the U.S. does sometimes conduct operations in other countries, including Mexico, without that country's authorization or permission, especially if they're with the CIA. Now, this isn't just something that is related to this administration, the Trump administration, which of course has taken a very aggressive and hard stance when it comes to the war on drugs and has blamed countries like Mexico and others in
You see the amount of drugs that were there that they were showing?
Central and South America for the significant flow of illegal drugs into.
Now, this all looks like a I forget what they actually call it, like a cookout, really. I mean, but it's for drugs. So they're out there somewhere in the middle of the forest, in the trees somewhere, whatever. And they're out there cooking, doing their shit.
The United States. But, I was hired by a Bush U.S. attorney, and I stayed on for an Obama U.S. attorney. And even during those administrations, some of these operations did happen. And I think part of the challenge is there is
like cooked sites or whatever.
A significant level of corruption when it comes to law enforcement and drug enforcement in Mexico, whether it's federal agents or state and local. Now, what makes this case unique, Mike, is that it was our agents in the United States that were working alongside.
Yeah, that's right. They're over there, stomping their feet on those cocoa leaves or whatever. Totally.
Some state agents apparently from Chihuahua, Mexico. So the question seems to be,
Chihuahua.
Were they permitted to do so by the governor of the state? Did they have authority from the federal government there in Mexico? Obviously, these are questions that really only Mexico can answer. But again, it's not typical that you'll see U.S. and Mexican agents working alongside one another as far as enforcement is concerned. Of course, they do provide training and intelligence and that type of thing. But the actual boots on the ground, not common for us to be working alongside them.
And Nima, I also wonder too about the.
And you would kind of think that it would be common for us to work side by side with them, but apparently not, right?
The victims' families during this very difficult time. It could even be a situation where maybe they didn't even know that they were inside Mexico at the time.
Well, shit, sick bastard. That's not good. I can't feel one of my feet.
Obviously, if you're working for the CIA or if you're working for DEA and you are deployed to another country, those are national security positions and operations. So it's really on a need-to-know basis. And those individuals have the highest level secrets.
What's up, brother TVT? Good morning to you. Great to see you in the chat, by the way.
Highest level clearances, top secret or above in the United States government. So they certainly can't be sharing that information with friends or family members who, like you said, excuse me, may have only found out about this operation and this tragedy on the news. And they're probably asking themselves, was this an attack? Were they targeted because they were going up against the drug cartels? Of course, we know that drug cartel violence in Mexico is rampant.
How hard is
we definitely already know that. All right, we don't need to go any further down the line of questioning. We got what we needed out of it. We got a lot of stories to still get through. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more stories to still get through. All right, so Houston changes ICE policy after funding threats from Governor Abbott. So let's go and bring that up and figure out what the heck is going on with that. Let's go ahead and see.
What we want to do now is take you out to Texas. We have Governor Greg Abbott. He is speaking live right now to the media. Let's rewind the tape, show it to you in full as the media asking questions. And again, there is a big moment happening in Texas news, specifically in Houston, as the Houston City Council has revised their police department and ICE policy change after a threat from the governor. Let's listen in right now, as that will be a major question in the.
I want to hear what the threat was.
News conference.
What I don't know is when everybody's mic'd up.
Mr. Al Patterson, great to see you in the chat, by the way. Good morning to you.
Just tell me when you're ready to go. Good. Ready? All right, I'm out in Montgomery County today to get out the vote for Brett Ligon running for in the special election for the Texas Senate. Very important for people across Montgomery County, across the entire Senate district, to get out and vote early. Election day is May the 2nd, so just a few weeks away.
That's for Texas, by the way. Voting day in Alabama is May 19th. Listen, that's my important day.
A few questions.
Governor, your take on the city of Houston approving this ordinance, what does it mean to the funds that we're going to be on?
So listen, what's happening in Houston is outrageous in this sense, and that is, of course, Houston is where Jocelyn Nungary lost her life at the hands of 2 illegal immigrants. You would think Houston would put safety, especially by and against those who are here illegally, foremost. And to even have a policy that was going to give leave to those who are here illegally was outrageous. And what the city of Houston was, they were in violation of a contract with the state of Texas that required them to comply and work with the United States Department of Homeland Security. They were in violation of that contract. What the city of Houston did by passing the amendment to the ordinance, they brought the city in compliance with the contract. However, also a signer of that contract is Houston Police Department. As of this moment, the Houston Police Department still has not agreed to the terms of what the contract requires. We continue to work with the Houston Police Department to make sure they also get in compliance with this agreement. If Houston Police Department does not deliver the way they're supposed to and comply with the contract the way they're supposed to, it will mean that the city of Houston will lose more than $100 million and be required to pay that money back to the state of Texas.
So the funds are still frozen
Damn.
today?
As of right now, these extra law enforcement funds that would be going to the city of Houston are no.
Homie just had a chicken salad sandwich. Motherfucker getting down with his bad self over there. Shit. Let me see where my sandwich is.
Man, motherfucker talk all the shit they want. But you see me, I'm sitting up here snacking on this big ass sandwich, not getting a fuck. Kiss my dick, motherfucker.
True, though. True. Facts.
No longer flowing there because as of right now, the city of Houston still is not in compliance with that contract agreement. But we will release those funds as soon as the police department gets on board and agrees with what the city of Houston passed in their ordinance today.
So based on what they've passed, from your perspective, will that unfreeze the funds?
Damn, so that's the actual official statement, Dean, or is that you asking?
What the city of Houston passed today is an agreement with the governor's office and the public safety office, good enough to be in compliance with the contract. We just need to make sure that the police department goes along with the verbiage that we agreed to in what the city of Houston passed.
And how soon do you expect that to happen?
It better happen in the next 24 hours.
Have you spoken with the mayor?
So I've not spoken with the mayor, but I think what the mayor and city council did.
Yes, very, very true. We're going to have everybody embrace their fuck-ups after this segment.
Is a positive step toward public safety.
Yo, the Dino Nuggies. Absolutely, man.
Positive step toward complying with the agreement they entered into with the state. And what the mayor did and what the city council did today is sufficient to make sure that they will be able to not only keep all the money that they've already gotten from the state of Texas, but qualify for additional funds going forward.
And Governor, there are some council members who have said that the amended change really didn't do much to change the ordinance legally, in their opinion. What do you think the biggest change is, and why is it now?
Sure. So what they are required to do under the agreement is to comply.
Listen, I'm sorry. I know this is going to hurt like 30% of you guys. It's going to like really hurt. Pineapple does not belong on pizza, okay? To me, it's heresy. I think it's total heresy, actually. So, anyways, back to this.
With any Department of Homeland Security request to detain anybody and to inform Department of Homeland Security about the illegal immigrant that they've detained and follow the instructions of the Department of Homeland Security. And what the revised city ordinance does, it fully complies with the terms of that contract that they are going to detain anybody and inform anybody here illegally and inform Department of Homeland Security about who they detain, why they detain.
Here, I got you.
Why are you gay?
Them and follow the instructions of what Homeland Security tells them to do.
All right. Thank you so much.
We'll take a few more.
Okay.
Is there any collaboration with ICE?
In what?
In collaboration with the Department of Homeland Security?
I missed that second. Any what?
Collaboration with the.
So this is between the state of Texas, the city of Houston, and Houston Police Department, and we're the only three entities a part of this. This is the contract right here, one page, and what it does is it says that city of Houston Police Department, they will notify.
So this is the contract that is happening between the governor and the Houston Police Department.
Homeland Security of all information requested by Department of Homeland Security related to illegal aliens in custody of the police department and detain such illegal aliens in accordance with demands by Department of Homeland Security. Then it says down here that they acknowledge that failure to comply with the terms of this letter means that they will, at the sole discretion of the governor's office, we can terminate this and get back all the money that we've given to the city of Houston, which now far exceeds $110 million.
Have you been in contact with the police department today?
My office has been in constant contact.
Steve Easy, you would just call the ND people just Southern Canada, I guess.
Contact with the police department, yes.
Some council members say that the...
And I want to clarify something in relation to your question. So
before he clarifies, we got Kel from Canada. Speaking of Canada, by the way, great to see you in the chat. Hopefully you're enjoying your Thirsty Thursday morning so far over there on the Facebook side.
All day long, actually today and before today, my office has been in constant contact with HPD, working on language and for them to make sure they're able to comply. The city passed it, they amended their ordinance that comes into compliance with this agreement. But one of the signers of this agreement is Houston Police Department. We need to make sure that what their rules are for their officers is in compliance with this agreement. And we're working with HPD to make sure the rules they set forth in the aftermath of the amended ordinance comply with this agreement.
Some council members have said
that's facts, Steve Posey. That's hilarious.
The new agreement, the one that was brought yesterday. Do you agree with that? That
you redacted it?
You made the agreement yesterday with the mayor.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm not following the question.
Did you were involved in making the agreement from yesterday?
For several days now, the governor's office has worked with the city of Houston. We wanted to make sure that they would take action to make sure they got to keep the money they got from the state. And so, our office talked with the city of Houston, office talked with the Houston Police Department. One, two more questions.
Do you think that
All right.
happened in Houston?
So at least we figured out what's somewhat going on over there. We're going to be following all these stories. Any story that we present, of course, we do our best to follow up on all of these things. Also, real quick, something that needs to happen is everybody just needs to embrace thy fuck up.
Don't beat yourself up over past mistakes. You are going to fuck up again in the future, quite possibly in a most spectacular fashion. Why worry about yesterday's fuck ups when you have tomorrow's fuck ups to look forward to? You are a fuck up, and fucking up is part of your growth process. Embrace the process.
Now, Naomi, that depends on what type of bag. I like milk bags, those kind of bags, but, I don't need a designer shit, you know what I mean? All right. So let's go ahead and get into the next story here. Virginia redistricting. We let you guys know, and we reported on the story yesterday about Virginia redistricting, and they claim that it's a big W for Democrats and all this shit, whatever. This morning, Judge Block's proposed congressional map. Shit. Let's go ahead and bring this up. And we'll see what the actual claim is.
All right, you're watching live now. I'm Austin Westfall. Back to a story that we were tracking yesterday. Voters in Virginia approving a new redistricting.
Yo, Virginia Chaos. Speaking of Virginia, he's sending out 5 gifted memberships. Got a little love from Virginia this morning, I see. Thank you very much. Not only helping me, but you're helping 5 others in the Insane Wheels family, man. So thank you very much for that.
Districting plan, potentially giving Democrats a midterm boost. Well, today, a circuit court judge stepped in and blocked the election certification of the proposed congressional map. It's now raising new questions.
You be good, Frank. Always appreciate you.
Whether the results will stick or get overturned.
Dragon Classic, good morning.
Fox 5 DC reporter Regina Ureta is live in Arlington County. She has more on the story. What are you hearing?
Yeah, but sick bastard, you're a hippie. So, I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, Austin. Well, this is coming from a Tazewell Circuit Court judge who is blocking the Commonwealth from certifying
You ain't wrong.
results. Now,
Holy shit. Holy shit. Yo. VC just was like he was just doing a prepared, like, hey, mind you, I'm just going to give you 5 gifted memberships over here to like distract you for a second to have the big bomb come through. So here we go. We got Virginia Chaos coming in with the $50 major whale, by the way. Told you I got you. Thanks for what you do, man. I very much appreciate you. Thank you. And I'm very honored to be appreciated that way, man. So thank you. It definitely makes what we're doing, you know what I mean, worth it. So thank you guys for supporting when you and where you can. I very much appreciate all of it, man. Here we go.
Decision comes after
Thank you, VC. That's awesome.
Vote. Unofficial results showed 50% voted in favor, 49% voted no. After this evening's ruling, Democrats did not hold back. They are defending those results. I want to pull up a statement here from the Attorney General of Virginia. Attorney General Jay Jones, he quoted, "My office will immediately file an appeal in the Court of Appeals. As I said last night, Virginia voters have spoken and an activist judge should not have veto power over the people's vote. We look forward to defending the outcome of last."
Man, it's got to be hard being any type of judge and actually being somewhat decent, right? Making any type of ruling, I guess, from any side, no matter what's going to happen, is they're going to be called activist judges when it doesn't go their way, you know? So Interesting.
Last night's election in court. Now, as it stands, voters narrowly approved a new congressional map, one that could give Democrats control of 10 of Virginia's 11 House seats. Democrats pushed the midterm redraw, a direct response to President Donald Trump, who first encouraged Republican states to do the same. But court documents from the Tazewell Circuit Court are making it clear that any votes for or against the amendment are ineffective. The same judge had already tried to block the referendum, siding with Republicans who filed multiple lawsuits. The injunction comes just hours.
Damn, Steve Easy, where's my freaking invite? I thought we were homies. Damn it, dude.
After President Donald
The white guy can't show up to the barbecue?
Trump posted online claiming the election was rigged. Tonight, Virginians we spoke with say they're just as divided.
I don't think it was necessary. I mean, the district was fine the way it was.
It seems only fair that the people's voice should be heard in this case. I would like to see the voters' will.
Oh my God. Is this a fair representation of the citizens in Virginia right here? Oh my goodness.
Why are you gay?
The thing that's most important.
In Austin, the fight continues here.
Listen, I ain't got a leg to stand on. That's about all I can do is hop on over. So I very much appreciate it.
In Virginia, but the injunction blocking the election from being certified does deepen the uncertainty here in this state. We'll continue to monitor this closely. Back to you.
We appreciate you, Regina. Thanks. Let's turn to the White House. As Regina mentioned, President Trump not happy with the results of last night's election. There very well could be implications on the balance of power in Congress come the 2026 midterm cycle. I spoke with David Becker today. He's the executive director of the Center for Election Innovation and Research and an organizer of the Election Official Legal Defense Network. I started by asking him about the likelihood that the new Virginia map stands and the likelihood that
that's
the
a good
Democrats
question.
retain the advantage.
Well, let's go ahead and get to that question, please. That would
Not
be great.
in the odds-making business. I don't know for sure. Court today has temporarily enjoined the map, but that's happened before, and the higher courts possibly, I think, maybe even probably could restore the maps under Virginia law. Remember, in the federal courts have basically said hands off on partisan gerrymandering because the Supreme Court has said there's nothing in the Constitution that prevents it. And so that's why states like Texas, which did it legislatively, and states like California, which did it through referendum, were both okay doing it. So this really comes down to an issue of Virginia law. You know, I think it's probably likely to withstand the challenge under Virginia law, but we'll see how this goes as it proceeds through the courts.
Yeah, so he can't give any type of, I mean, any answer really is speculation, to be honest. We don't know these answers. The interpretation per judge is going to be a little different. It's not always, you know, there's always something involved. So I've lost faith in the system and these kind of things, you know. All right, so let's go ahead and move on. We're going to get into the Senate passes DHS budget plan for ICE and Border Patrol. Schumer and Thune are reacting to this. This happened 5 hours ago. It says the Senate moved early Thursday to begin a new push to reopen the Department of Homeland Security, approving a budget plan that would fund ICE and Border Patrol despite Democratic opposition and sending the measures to the House. All right, so this just came out this morning. Let's go ahead and bring this up, and we'll quickly review this.
Welcome into Live Now from Fox, who are taking a live look there at the Capitol, as we are just receiving breaking news that the Senate has passed a budget plan for ICE and CBP. I want to read this AP News article off for you here. This says the Senate took the first steps in a new effort to reopen the Department of Homeland Security early Thursday, voting to adopt a budget plan that would fund ICE and Border Patrol over Democratic objections and sending it to the House. The entire department has been shut down since mid-February as Democrats have demanded policy changes in the wake of fatal shootings of 2 protesters by federal agents. Republicans are now trying to fund the 2 agencies through the complicated, time-consuming process called budget reconciliation, a maneuver that they also used to pass President Donald Trump's package of tax and spending cuts last year with no Democrat.
I wonder how much the funding bill or the budget plan, how much it actually is, though.
Votes. Continuing to read on here from the AP News article, this is a quote here coming from Senate Majority Leader John.
You got to remember, all these things are basically just funding packages that happen basically yearly. But there's multiple parts to funding. So this is just agreeing essentially on how the money's going to be used, essentially.
Thune saying, quote, we have a multi-step process ahead of us, but at the end, Republicans will have helped ensure that America's borders are secure and prevented Democrats from defunding these important agencies. Now, the budget process only requires a simple majority in the Senate, bypassing filibuster rules that require Republicans to find 60 votes on most bills when they only hold 53 seats. But it also comes with increased scrutiny from the Senate parliamentarian.
By the way, everybody, I haven't been bothering you guys to do it. Make sure you guys hit that like button and double tap the screen if you guys are on the vertical side. We're going into OT today. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, we still have 3 stories after this to get through. So make sure you guys hit the like button for overtime.
And a long open-ended series of amendment votes at the beginning and the end of the process. So that breaking news just coming in just moments ago here, as we bring you on now to our studio here. My name is Bowen Kadrabaj, and I'll be with you here for the next
What is your name?
hours.
Bowen Kadrabaj. What was that? I got to hear that again.
As we bring you on now to our studio here. My name is Bowen Kadrabaj, and I'll be with you here for the next couple hours.
What the fuck is that?
As we continue to track this breaking news here, I want to bring this Politico X post here up on your screen. Here that says, Senate Republicans a clear go it alone path for ICE funding, that they're coming from Politico. And we did have cameras on that Senate floor where this was just being debated just moments ago. We do have sound here from Senator Chuck Schumer that we do want to play out for you real quick here.
Not for families struggling with the high costs of childcare, groceries, gasoline, electricity, but for pumping $140 billion towards rogue agencies. All night long, we gave the Republicans a chance to do the right thing by voting for our amendments. We gave Republicans a chance to vote for an amendment to lower out-of-pocket health care costs. They said no. We gave Republicans a chance to lower childcare costs. They said no. We gave Republicans a chance to stop insurance company delays, to protect school meals, to give people a hand at the grocery store. And Republicans said no, no, and no again. What kind?
Oh, trust me. Even you know, some Democrats don't even like Schumer. So
bubble are they living in? How apart are they from people's real needs? And instead, take that money, which should have gone to lowering people's costs, and give it to an agency that everyone knows needs reform. Republicans can rest assured that when reconciliation comes back up in a few weeks, they're going to have to face these votes again. Democrats will make sure that they do. We will continue to force vote after vote on the most pressing issue facing Americans today, their high, all too high costs. Democrats are going to hold Republicans' feet to the fire because the American people demand it. The American people are hurting right now because of the soaring cost of living. And that's why it's so important that Democrats continue to force Republicans to take these votes and go on the record about their disastrous agenda. I yield the floor.
Anybody else going to speak? Isn't Thune going to say something? Let me fast forward and see if we get anybody. Yep. We are going to have
Before
somebody.
we leave and finish this evening, I would like to take a moment to recognize a departing member of the Republican cloakroom staff, Tony Hannigan. He's leaving this Friday after 12 years in the cloakroom and his 12th Votorama. Tony, I know a lot of those occurred here in the last 50.
What's up, Abe Dinkus? Great to see you in the chat, by the way. Happy Thirsty Thursday morning to you. Great to see you in the chat, and God bless, my man.
And I'm hoping we didn't push you out the door by forcing you to go through another one. But seriously, Mr. President, it's hard for me to think of the Republican cloakroom without Tony. When you become leader, you realize all over again just how indispensable our cloakroom staff are. The command of Senate procedure and the institutional knowledge they bring is as essential to passing legislation as is the votes of our members. Since I became leader, I've relied on Tony's expertise on a daily basis, whether we're adopting a UC or I'm delivering the wrap-up. And Tony isn't just smart and knowledgeable. He is also invariably positive, hardworking, and deeply committed to the team. Our team here in the Senate and the sports teams at his beloved Gonzaga College High School here in Washington, D.C. Tony, you played an indispensable role in the victories we've won for the American people. And I am very grateful for the 12 years final act.
All right, we're jumping into what everyone shows the important part is. We're going to jump to it.
Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent that the motion to reconsider be considered made and laid upon the table.
Without objection.
And Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent that the Senate proceed to executive session to consider the following nominations in block. All nominations on the Secretary's desk in the Foreign Service, and that the nominations be confirmed in block. The motion to reconsider be considered made and laid upon the table with no intervening action or debate, all in block. That no further motions be in order to any of the nominations, that the President be immediately notified of the Senate's action, and the Senate then resume legislative session.
Without objection.
You know, Provoke, I got to give you, I got to say that's a W comment on me. I got to say.
Mr. President, I move to proceed to executive session to consider calendar number 670.
Questions on the motion to proceed? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it. The motion is agreed to. The clerk will report the nomination.
Nomination, Department of Justice, Robert Cicada of Florida to be Director, Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives.
Mr. President, I send a cloture motion to the
Yo, fuck the ATF.
desk.
Clerk will report.
Cloture motion, we, the undersigned senators, in accordance with the provisions of Rule 22 of the Standing Rules of the Senate, do hereby move to bring to a close debate on the nomination of Robert Cicada of Florida to be Director, Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, signed by 17 senators as follows.
Mr. President, I ask consent to read the names be waived.
Without objection.
And I move to proceed to legislative session.
Questions on the motion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it. The motion is agreed to.
Mr. President, I move to proceed to calendar number 373 S4344.
The clerk will report.
Motion to proceed to calendar 373 S4344, a bill to extend Section 702 of the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act of 1978 for 3 years.
You know what sucks about Congress is it's all this rhetoric. It's bullshit. You know what I mean? It's all fucking theatrics. It's all bullshit. No one really fucking gives a shit. You know what I mean? Like they're just getting their narratives done. It's a mess. It's a mess. And people are like wondering why politics are down the fucking drain. Because look at this shit. I'm just saying. There is zero. Everything is monotoned. It's all the same, boring. It's just whack, bro. Like no one there is like enjoying themselves. You know, no one here is like going, oh my God, this is amazing. Look, these are kids that are in here sitting off to the side. It looks like they're kids off to the very ends of this setup. They're probably there on some like Washington, D.C. Like special school trip or some shit or whatever. And they're in the chambers right now, you know, or whatever the case is. They don't even look, they're just like looking around kind of like bored. Just brutal. Anyways, let's see what kind of post we get right here.
That breaking news
coming from Chuck.
In just moments ago here. We got this X post here from Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer. Says a vote-a-rama starts tonight while Republicans try to give up to $140 billion to ICE. We'll be forcing votes all night on lowering costs, ending the war, and making healthcare cheaper, putting Republicans on the record on the issues Americans care about. With that, we have this X post here also coming from Secretary Mark Wayne Mullen. This says, at DHS, our only mission is to protect the homeland while Democrats continue the political theater. DHS is running out of funds to pay the patriots who protect our nation. Democrats must stop their political games and end this reckless shutdown, as this now is the...
That came from Secretary Mullen. All right, we're getting into our next story here. We're going to bring our attention back over to Iran and what's going on over there in the Middle East. So it says we have a video that came out this morning. U.S. seizes Iranian-linked oil tanker. Now, this would be the third vessel we have boarded and taken over, okay? So let's go ahead and figure out, but we actually have a video of this shit. So here we go, and we'll pull this up right now.
We have some breaking news when it comes to the escalating tensions in the Middle East. Reports are saying that the U.S. military has seized another vessel that was linked to Iran. I want to take us out to a social media post courtesy of the Department of War. It says this: overnight, U.S. forces carried out a maritime interdiction and
Hey, you ride safe over there, Brother So Loud. We always appreciate you.
right of visit boarding of the sanctioned stateless vessel MT Majestic X, transporting oil from Iran in the Indian Ocean within the area of responsibility. We will continue global maritime enforcement to disrupt illicit networks and interdict vessels providing material support to Iran whenever they operate, or wherever they operate. International waters can
Good. They actually do have the video. I see it. Oh, it's going to be
be
awesome.
used as a shield by sanctioned actors. The Department of War will continue to deny illicit actors and their vessels freedom of maneuver in.
You know, Virginia Chaos, they are maxed out on for some reason, they're just low today. I'll crank them on my soundboard. I just will make sure I don't use any of the soundboard stuff, like all the sound bites and shit. So I'll bring it up. Here we go.
The maritime domain. Along with this social media post, the Department of War also included this video that you see here on your screen. Again, this was just reported a few minutes ago that the U.S. military says it has seized another oil tanker associated with Iran. It does come as earlier this week we have been reported that several ships have been attacked by Iran at the Strait of Hormuz. The Associated Press saying this, that Iran's semi-official news agencies reported that the paramilitary revolution.
What? Are you serious? So Gary, I didn't know that just happened. Are you for real? Okay, so real quick, that's kind of a big deal. So with the whole thing that Trump did the executive order or whatever on the on rescheduling, that was basically not, it didn't mean, see, people actually thought, oh, now it's a Schedule 3, but no, it was still Schedule 1. And it basically merely was just a suggestion of what it should be. That's basically it. Now, the DOJ needed to reschedule it, and you're stating that they just did that. That's a big deal. Wow, that's big news.
Guard attacked a third ship on Wednesday in the Strait. They said the vessel had become stranded on the Iranian coast without elaborating. The Guard seized the other two ships that were attacked, and Iranian state television was the run to report that specific update. Now, that incident followed two ship attacks on Saturday that ended a lull that began mid-March. The seized ships were the Liberia-flagged ship and also a Panama-flagged ship, both of them container ships. It was not clear under what terms the ships were trying to pass the strait. The MSC shipping company did not answer an email from the.
That's a big boy tanker right there. I guarantee you that tanker holds about 2 million, 2.1, 2.2, something in that. He definitely in the 2 class.
Asking about that specific vessel. And those attacks followed a sudden reversal in the Iranian stance over the weekend, as the Iranian foreign minister announced on Friday that the strait was open.
Yeah, we call those super tankers right there.
Only to be contradicted the next day by the Revolutionary Guard. 6 cruise ships stuck in the Persian Gulf since late February took advantage of the narrow window and slipped through the strait. But since then, traffic has dried up. This is the video once again showcased from the Department of War and their social media post, as reports are saying that the U.S. military has seized another Iranian oil tanker. Bringing us back out to that social media post here.
And I guess this happened out in the Indian Ocean.
Again, overnight, U.S. forces carried out a maritime interdiction and right of visit boarding of the sanctioned stateless vessel, the MT Majestic X, transporting oil from Iran. It ends by saying that the department.
Well, that's basically where it's at right now, TVT, where it's not, legal per se. It's still Schedule 3, but you're not going to jail over it. So that's kind of where it's at right now.
The Department of War will continue to deny illicit actors and their vessels freedom of maneuver in the maritime domain.
Never forget, Steve Easy. Never forget. Totally, bro. All right, let's go ahead and move into this next story here. Regards to the Iranian tanker that you guys just saw there, let's see if there's any more information. This came out an hour later. So let's just skip through and see if there's anything in here that we haven't seen.
And those were some comments there from the exiled
Yes,
Iranian crown, firing on and seizing an Iranian ship that did not stop when held by a vessel enforcing this blockade. These attacks unfolding just a day after we saw President Trump say he would extend the 2-week ceasefire with Iran. Now, I want to take you out to this live look of Beirut here as we talk about Lebanon, because 3 separate Israeli strikes.
Yes, and that's actually the biggest W for marijuana, is because now they can actually, it opens a whole different world of doors that they get to use now that they weren't able to during Schedule 1, in particular for research.
killed at least 6 people and wounded others.
Pablo, good morning.
Israel denied carrying out one of the strikes and did not immediately comment on the others. These attacks came as Israeli and Lebanese ambassadors prepared for a new meeting today in Washington toward extending a fragile 10-day ceasefire that began last week. Now, lastly here, I also just wanted to take you out to Washington, D.C., because we also saw the U.S. Senate voted against a Democratic attempt to halt the war in Iran, rejecting the resolution 46-51 on Wednesday, as Republicans in Congress have largely backed President Trump's military efforts. It was the 5th time this year that the Senate voted to cede its war powers to the president in a conflict that Democrats are saying is illegal and unjustified. Bringing in a friendly face to the show here. You've seen him a lot as we talk about Iran. Jonathan Saei with the Foundation for Defense of Democracies, breaking this all down for us this morning. Thank you, as always, Jonathan, for joining us.
Good morning.
I'm going to go ahead and get his first statement. And if there's nothing new that we don't already know, then we're going to move on.
In retaliation for a U.S. naval blockade. How significant is that escalation, and does it risk?
We already know the answers to all those questions. We've already stated that during this whole course of this. Let's see if there's any new pictures here. There is something here from the IDF, so not in the regards to the oil tanker, but let's just see what the IDF is saying right here.
Combat roles in Iraq or Afghanistan. Many of these individuals, unfortunately, were either killed or wounded or severely injured because of Islamic
Stop talking so she can read this.
Republic weapons. Particularly, Iraq was a major thing. Iran's influence.
Oh my goodness.
Throughout the Iraqi, whether it was the surge or the ongoing wave, through the Shia militias was the major obstacle for us.
Okay. All right. We're moving on. All right. This is our final story, actually, everybody. And it's fairly quick. Trump orders Navy to, quote, shoot and kill mine boats in the Strait of Hormuz. All right. Let's go ahead and bring it up. Here we go.
You're watching live now from Fox, so welcome back. We're hearing from President Trump right now on the Strait of Hormuz and Iran. Let's take you out to this live simulation of the Strait of Hormuz this morning. This is just coming into our newsroom here as President Trump has ordered the U.S. military to shoot and kill Iranian small boats choking the Strait of Hormuz. He said that in a social media post this morning. He said the military is intensifying its mine clearing efforts in the critical waterway. Now, this move intensified the U.S.-Iran standoff in the Persian Gulf and raised questions about efforts to end the war. And this is that post there from President Trump from Truth Social, posted by the White House, saying, quote, I have ordered the United States Navy to shoot and kill any boat, small boats, though they may be. Their naval ships are all 159 of them at the bottom of the sea that is putting mines in the waters of the Strait of Hormuz. There is to be no hesitation. So that's just coming in from President Trump here that I wanted to share with you. This news also coming as the U.S. military said it seized another tanker today associated with smuggling Iranian oil, the Majestic X.
And now that makes it 3 ships that we have boarded, the United States has boarded over there in the Middle East and taken over during this second round of escalations.
In the Indian Ocean, deepening some confusion over efforts to end this.
Wow, Steve Posey coming in with the 5 spot, by the way, saying Mike's overtime pay. Yes, my man, very much appreciate that. And I'm super sorry. I forgot that the soundboard was super cranked up right now, so all of you guys had to really get that air horn. All right, so let's go ahead and get back into this. Thank you for that, Steve Posey.
War, as I said a bit earlier. That seizure comes after a day after Iran attacked 3 cargo ships in the Strait of Hormuz, capturing 2 of them. Now, the Islamic Republic said it fired on 3 outbound ships and seized 2, calling it retaliation for the American naval blockade of Iranian ports.
What's up, Ghost? Great to see you in the chat, by the way. Good morning.
And for the U.S. firing on and seizing an Iranian ship that did not stop when hailed by a vessel enforcing that blockade. The attacks unfolded just a day after President Trump said he would extend that 2-week ceasefire with Iran. This also coming as the U.S. Senate voted against a Democratic attempt to halt President Trump's war in Iran, rejecting the resolution 46-51 on Wednesday, as Republicans in Congress have largely backed President Trump's military efforts. It was the 5th time this year that the Senate voted to cede its war powers to the president in a conflict that Democrats say is illegal and unjustified. But here we have President Trump as he is sharing this to Truth Social. The White House also sharing it as well, saying President Trump now ordering the U.S. military to, quote, shoot and kill Iranian small boats choking the Strait of Hormuz. If we do get any more information on that, we'll bring it to you.
And of course, that's what we're doing here. So as you guys know, every story that we bring up, we of course do our best to follow them and make sure that we continue the story. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I can't thank you guys enough for allowing me to do this Monday through Friday, and of course for members only as well on Saturday. Listen, stick around. We're going to be rating our buddy Chaotic Truth. He's live right now. Make sure you guys stick around for that. Also, hit that like button if you guys are coming in a little late. Make sure you guys double tap that screen if you're on the vertical side. And listen, we'll see you guys here tomorrow morning for more of the world's madness. As always, God bless everybody. Hopefully you guys all enjoy the rest of your day. And be safe out there, everyone. Much love, honor, and respect.
From the depths of darkness, a voice emerges, a host with a fire burning.